right, so I think we actually have live streams working. Let me get you caught up on a couple of things that we learned yesterday. And by we, I mean me and AI, mostly me using AI, because that's how it's supposed to be done. One, OBS, I overly taxed yesterday because I thought it would be an awesome idea to be able to record all source files all at once, no matter what. So I added all these extra filters. Those of you who know OBS know what I'm talking about. I added all these filters to pull all these recordings down and just devastated my poor computer, which is why 80% of the frames dropped yesterday. So I think we are actually going to have this solved now with OBS. So no more of that. At least I'm expecting that to be the case. And so far, as I'm looking at my stats, it looks like it's working because already at this point yesterday, there was a problem. Second thing is I actually have figured out the challenge that we were running into yesterday. So I'm going to go ahead and share screens very quickly, because I want to celebrate with everybody here. So I'm going to pop this. One other thing, by the way, look, my Stream Deck is not working. So there's our Automated with Tech. That, by the way, was just an update that was needed for Stream Deck. And that automatically took care of the update that OBS went through. Now, what I'm showing is a not logged in version. In fact, if you see up here, it says login sign up. So we're not logged in. This is everything that's public. And what it actually was that I ended up having the issue with was there was a plugin, and I mentioned this during the live stream yesterday. When you're live streaming and you're trying to build live, there's always like the people watching and you're trying to do stuff and also manage the live stream, so brain's resources are kind of going to there a little bit. As soon as I got out, I just took some time off yesterday after doing that. This morning, went back with AI and was like, okay, here's what's going on. I literally did the same prompt, essentially, that I did before. And I had it just kind of go through, and it was like the first thing it said was kind of what the first thing the other one said, which is there's probably a plugin conflict. Let's go through plugins. And that's just what I did. I just did basic WordPress user error stuff and disconnected all the plugins, added Fluent Community back, instantly worked, added Fluent CRM back, still working, added a code snippets plugin back, bam, everything broke. And that's when I realized I had done some customizations to this site back in August, actually, when I was sort of building this stuff just from security standpoints to sort of restrict the API access that WordPress has. And that's what was doing it. So I actually found out what I had done, and it was using AI, which actually helped out. So now everything functions the way it's supposed to. And at this point, we can start building stuff out, putting in all sorts of new features and other experiences. So I figured at this point, I want to kind of get some stuff updated. But I wanted to play around a little bit today because, again, Automated with Tech is not supposed to be this channel where it's like it's all business all the time trying to figure stuff out. It's just, golly, this tool is amazing. My wife and I were talking about this morning. This tool is amazing. It is helping our lives in so many different ways that I think it would be unfortunate if all I did was talk about business stuff. So I wanted to show some fun stuff too, and I will be doing that on all of these. And then I'm going to open up showcases within AutomatedWith.tech, because that's literally where I'm going to put stuff where I'm working on, for health, or the recipes I'm doing. Those pretzels that we talked about yesterday that we got AI to create for us, we're going to use those. Actually, we're going to be doing a little shopping trip later tonight, and with any luck, I'll have some pretzels over the next couple of days. Those of you can catch up yesterday's live stream, which was unfortunate that it had 80. Just listen to the transcript. The sound was fine. It was the frames that were rough. But let's go ahead and start here. I wanted to get a little bit of a beginner. I'm going to pull this one back down here. And then I wanted to start with Flash because not a lot of people are using it. I occasionally will go into this just to see kind of what it can do. Especially based on how I prompt it, because again, it's AI. You're not trying to move from being an AI user and don't think of yourself as somebody who uses AI. Think of yourself as somebody who operates AI, which means you have to be aware and pay attention to what you are doing. That is the difference between a user and an operator. A user can push a button and know that, oh, this thing's going to do its thing, and I don't really care because I'm going to get this result. But AI is not like that. It's a probability machine, right? It's literally a word calculator. And so we have to operate in probabilities that when we try to steer it in a certain direction, there's only a probability it will go in that direction. And we sort of have to be aware that while it should, and we hope it will, maybe it won't, right? So I hopefully we'll be demonstrating this over and over, and you'll be picking up the patterns that I'm giving it, because it is patterns. It's not the words that matter. It's the patterns that we're communicating. So I wanted to start with something very easy to help us, especially sort of get into this experience mode, because I think that is the secret sauce that I'm showing over and over again, is this idea of getting AI to help you to experience things. Because when you can do that, you are more likely to have a useful solution that's coming through, and you tend to experience a solution as opposed to have more information to think about, right? Or oh, well, that's one way I could solve the problem, but now I've got more stuff to think about. And that's kind of what AI does for a lot of people, is it just gives them more stuff to think about, more stuff that they need to do. And that's what we're trying to avoid here. So let's show it. I'm going to go ahead and do one really quick thing. This will be just for you, but before and after, real quick exercise, quite literally about exercise. Hey, can you do me a favor? And I'm in my 50s. I'm average male, got pretty good health, pretty good flexibility, all the normal stuff. I get a physical once a year. And I want to start doing push-ups. So can you give me kind of a description of how I can do all those push-ups? Now, this is going to be fairly basic. It's what most people do when you are using AI, because I'm just sort of having a casual conversation, and especially with Flash, because Flash isn't going to do a lot of thinking. It's not going to, it's just going to kind of go like, here's the stuff, right, that's related to it. And as we look through it, you're going to see a response that you would expect, which is, okay, here's wall push-ups. Cool, right? And that's fine, because I'm just I gave it a general idea of context, of who I am, where I'm at, and what it's okay. We can do the setup. Here's the form. Keep your body straight. This is all good, right? All good stuff. Your feet should be hip width apart. All good. However, not an experience. And so what I want to do is I want to show kind of how this experience can go through. It's like, oh, step 3, we do knee push-ups, and then negative push-ups, and then full push-ups, right? So now it's kind of walking me through. So now I can do full push-ups. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start here with the full push-ups, because I already know I can do this. And I'm going to have it change the tone so that it is an experience of what a full push-up is. And as it's explaining it, what I'm going to ask it to do is have me actually experience doing that push-up, even though I am quite literally walking on a walking treadmill right now. As for those of you who notice I might be moving in the camera, that's why. I just sort of stroll at half a mile an hour here to keep moving, because I enjoy that. But I'm going to go ahead and go in. We're going to level up now into experience. This is really what you want to be doing with AI as an operator, because that is how you kind of move from feeling like you're pushing a button and then have it, or typing something in and having it do its thing and then come back with a response, to more integrated, like you're wearing it like a tech suit and it's a part of you in some strange way, right? That's sort of how I look at it. It's the difference between holding a drill and having a tech suit that has drills and all sorts of other tools attached to it that you can sort of just kind of move around just by thinking about it. That's kind of the concept here. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive in. We're going to upgrade this into an experience. This is great. Actually, I can do full push-ups. I'm pretty comfortable with those. I'm not comfortable doing a lot, though. I'm just getting started. And so what I would like to do is I would like for you to experience what a push-up is highly likely to be from my perspective, and respond back in such a way that you can actually have me experience what a solid full push-up experience should be. So I'm paying attention to what's in my body. I want to make sure if I'm pushing things too hard, how will I know if that's the case? How will I know if maybe I'm going too lightly on myself? How will I know that I can do another rep? All of that information I'm not quite sure about when it comes to push-ups. I want to make sure that I'm getting the most highly likely useful information and knowledge from the push-ups. I want to make sure my body is responding in the most efficient way to this push-up, and that's why it is so important for me to properly experience a push-up. So based on the experience that I am describing, I would like you to go in and experience what that push-up is, respond back so that I then, as I'm reading this response, actually experience this push-up, so I am more likely to have that high-quality push-up experience I desire. Okay, again, experience is all I'm putting in here. The reason I'm doing that is for context engineering. There's a whole latent thing that's going around the internet right now. That's going to come to fruition for sure. So if you want to Google latent stuff, I'll talk more about that later in future live streams. But latent prompting is becoming a thing now. That's all this is. Everybody seems to be catching up to this is just how I use the tool, and they're all making up names for it. Don't get caught up in the names. Just use this thing in a way that is pattern based, and no matter what everyone's calling everything, you won't get distracted. All I am doing is trying to map kind of a virtual subconscious. And I know that's going to sound weird, but that's what I'm doing in the LLM. That's how I'm visualizing it, right? I'm not saying I'm actually doing that, just how I visualize it. It's like a useful construct. I am consciously aware of how to do a push-up. I understand what a push-up feels like. I already have that experience. What I am unaware of is the actual experience of somebody who really understands push-ups, loves push-ups, and is fully immersed in the push-up experience. I do not have that experience. To me, a push-up is exercise, not effortless enjoyment that naturally builds my body healthier. And what I would like is not the exercise experience that I currently have. What I would like is this much healthier option of an experience I'm hoping I'm going to get here. That will actually, as I go through it, I kind of go like, holy cow, like I cannot wait to experience a push-up in this way. And it should be useful. I didn't say convince me to do a push-up, but that's what I'm doing. I'm literally doing this by saying, okay, here's the experience of push-up, push-up, push-up. It kind of has some general idea of who I am already, so I'm not going to repeat the 50-year-old thing and all that stuff, or in the 50 stuff. But that's what I would do normally if I was doing this from a kind of a zero-shot prompt, or the first prompt, I should say. But at this point, what should happen is it's going to light up all these different, again, I'm not saying this is what's happening in LLM, but this is how I'm visualizing it. All these different experience nodes, which contain a massive amount of context in between those nodes. That's what it lights up. When it's doing that, that's the information that I do not have consciously in my head that I need out of this knowledge machine, essentially, which is what AI is. We're just navigating the knowledge, right? That's coming through here. We're navigating through knowledge, and I'm getting that knowledge into my brain in a way that is coded as experience, not extra shit for me to reference. And this is what I'm trying to make sure that everyone understands here. This is a very different way of looking at AI. I'm coding it in my head differently on purpose as experience, because that is more visceral. That is more something that leads to action. And that is something that automatically sort of just, your brain just sort of naturally adapts, and you because you're experiencing this I guess identity, for lack of a better word, but because you experience this, you tend to actually continue to experience it, right? It goes in the right direction. And that's with time, that's what I'm ideally wanting to prove here, because with AutomatedWith.tech, you should see my body physically change. It already has pretty dramatically for those that have known me over the past year. I think I've lost 40 pounds. And certainly, let's say I was at 185, I think, 3 months ago, and now I'm at 169, 170, somewhere around there. So 15 pounds just in the past little bit. But that wasn't because I decided or dieted or did any sort of effort at all. It was just my experience of how I am living is just changing, and I'm using AI to guide that experience, so that I have better quality experiences. That's kind of where this goes. So again, I know that's going to be weird. It is supposed to be weird. That is how this stuff is in the beginning. However, when you see this stuff happen, which is why I encourage you to do it in different areas besides trying to write an email or a blog post, or in my case, we're going to do headshots next, and so we'll see how that goes. But be open to these experiences, because there's a reason why it works. As we go through, it is going to feel like magic. It is going to feel like woo, but that's the whole point. I'm trying to show you this does feel like magic. Here's how to do the magic trick. You're going to do the magic trick on your own by yourself, and it's still going to feel like magic. This feels like magic to me every time I do it, and I've been doing it a lot. So, let's see. Okay, so excellent way to approach your push-ups. That's great. Single push-up, the active plank, go to the floor, get in a high plank position, put your hands flat on the floor, fingers spread directly under your shoulders, slightly wider, point your middle finger straight forward. All right, that already is more direction than I've ever had in doing that. So that's cool. The sensation of alignment. Okay, so now I'm experiencing in my head, right? Then those of you who are into personal development, think about goal setting. What do you do with personal development? You got to go through your goals over and over. We're supposed to visualize our goals over and over. All that was really trying to do is to get experience into your brain, so the brain goes, oh, I have this experience. I should now use that seed of an experience and continue to scale that. That's kind of what we're doing here. So sensation of alignment. Feel the ground beneath my hands, straight, rigid board from the crown of your head all the way to your heels. Tense the abdominal muscles, pulling your belly button slightly toward your spine. This is the foundations. You should feel tightness, like you're bracing for a punch. Okay, I get that. If you feel a pinching or a sagging, your core isn't engaged enough. This is the first sign you're pushing too hard. Great, right? Glute check. Squeeze your glutes, the butt muscles, and muscles in your thighs. Your legs should feel locked and solid. This locks the straight line. Shoulder check. Rotate your hands. How much of this experience of a push-up I have missed going through here, because I've never done this stuff before. I've never been consciously aware of this stuff before. So rotate the hands slightly externally as if you're trying to screw your hands into the floor without actually moving them. This keeps your elbows tucked. So there we go. So externally. Armpits should feel, interesting. I've never thought about my armpits. My armpits should feel tight and your upper back should feel active, not just hanging. Okay. Then this descent as we're going down. That's just the top part of the push-up. Then it's, okay, start lowering your body one solid unit. Do not let your hips drop first or your butt rise up. Great. Here's the work. Okay, inhaling as I descend. Very good. Elbows, so I'm feeling the elbows bend, keeping them tucked about 45-degree angle. They should move backward, not straight out to the sides, right? So we're not doing this. We're doing this, not this. The muscles working, feeling tension increasing the chest and the back of the upper arms, the triceps. Lower the chest until it's fist height or less from the floor. So now I've got that. And then the explosive power. Exhale sharply as you push the floor away from you. This movement should feel powerful and intentional. Drive through the heels of your hands, which I don't do. I drive through this when I do it. I kind of push on this little pad part or in here as I'm consciously aware of how I've done this before. But if I'm pushing through the heel of my hand, okay, cool. Now it makes sense. A little more attention, a little more awareness. And when I'm doing that, the idea here is, and some of you that are into the muscles of the body, way beyond my experience, I do not have this experience, but this is why I have AI, because I have the knowledge that I can go through. My bet is there are some subtle shifts that are happening in the alignment of a human body, the human machine, the technology that is us, that as I push through the heel, it naturally aligns some other muscle so that it becomes more efficient. It gets more of the force that it needs to be able to build the muscle or to get the experience. So now I've got that thing, and there's my guide. So am I pushing too hard? It's if I have these issues, right? Am I going too lightly? If I feel little to no muscular challenge, if I can do 20 reps easily, not there yet, maybe one day. The muscle burn, can I do another rep? Here's the quality test. So now I've got this nice little setting here that is highly customizable as I'm going through, right? So it was a bit like the pretzel one that we did yesterday, where the pretzel was kind of like, hey, it was walking me through the recipe going, hey, don't worry about it. This is the part where you're going to just laugh at yourself because these things are going to be so damn funny looking, right? You're not trying to make the perfect pretzel. Let's not try to do that. Let's just try to make something that resembles a pretzel and laugh along the way, right? That was kind of the intention of that. So I am not afraid of doing pretzels, right? I can go do something new that I have zero experience in, but have an interest in, and now really want to explore, right? It's funny because in a way, I was always the person who's like, I don't have any hobbies. And now my hobby is in a real way, kind of life, explored through this ability to be able to say, well, let's just go, what else can we do in life that I don't have the knowledge of, but I would like to explore? A push-up, the perfect push-up. Can I figure out how to do that and experience it in a way that's similar to this? And remember, this is Flash. If I did this with Pro, with a thinking model, it gets much more intense. So I'm emphasizing here that it doesn't matter what model you use. This is just how LLMs work. They all work the same way. They cannot not work the same way. They all have similar technology. They're all just technology. They're all patterns, right? Whether it's biological technology or mechanical technology, we are all the same patterns. So the idea is to be able to communicate it with, get the experience out, have that inside my head. So now I have gone and viscerally at some level, even though I know that I didn't truthfully experience it because I'm not clearly doing a push-up right now, but I kind of am. I got that idea of like, okay, I'm gonna really think this through and get this stuff down. It's pretty interesting. Now, I could level up the description. We're not going to now, and I could level it up like I did with that pretzel experience. But remember, and I'm going to do that. To be honest, I'll do that anyway. But the idea here is, imagine some N8N automation or active pieces automation, or if you're really on it right now, look at what Cloudflare is doing with these vibe coding platforms that they are putting out. And the fact that Cloudflare is, by the way, you can literally create your own Lovable, not your own thing to create an account on their vibe coding platform, literally your own vibe coding platform that you could give me an account on if you wanted. That's what's cool about this Cloudflare thing. So anyway, pay attention to that. I know I'm going a little off script here, like there's a script. But the idea is being able to use these automations. If I could do an automation for an exercise that helped a person that I was, let's say I had experience in this, I was a gym trainer or something like this, and I understood how this worked. I had the experience to know I could have this N8N thing go through and customize training programs that produced not a list of crap you have to do, but experience of what your training is going to be like for the next 30 minutes. An experience of the first 5 minutes of the 30 seconds of being able to preview this and go like, holy cow, here's what we're going to be doing. And by the end of this, here's how you should feel. Right. And that's what I'm going to do. That's what I would do with the other one. In fact, let's do that just for kicks, and then I'll move on. So, this is excellent. Can you do me a favor and respond as if, so that I can get an actual experience of what it is highly likely that I am going to experience after I have completed a set of push-ups successfully. Now, that wasn't very good, in my opinion. I would go back and probably do that a little different, but I think it'll be good enough. What I'm looking for is the exhalation and collapse. So you don't just finish the rep, you release the intense full body pressure. You might let a big audible exhale you didn't realize you were holding. And the shake and burn, the triceps, so the shake, your arms maybe tremble or shaking. Okay, so this is good, right? That hot burning sensation. And we've all experienced this in exercise before, so I kind of get what that is. But these are all good signs, right? You're going to be slightly out of breath, all right? Even though they're not cardio, it's okay. That's normal. So now I'm not going to feel bad like I'm out of breath, which is, again, I think another thing that psychologically we just don't give ourselves credit for how much inefficiency is in our idea of how we need to do things. And when you work with AI, it sort of strips that out. When you say, I just want the experience. I don't need all the ways of how to do stuff or my ability to say, I know I've dictated how to do it. I just need the experience part. I want the results part of it. And so here we got the shift, 7 hands. So 15 seconds to 2 minutes later, I should feel okay. Chest's gonna feel a little slightly swollen. Well, that's probably good. There's my endorphins coming through, a sense of satisfaction, mental clarity, and accomplishment. Now I'm on the other side experiencing what this is. It's pretty good. Now, if at this point, if I still feel the burning, I can give it some more. Otherwise, maybe I can go back in and do some more. So, okay, cool. Perfect. But imagine this now. We did it with the pretzels yesterday. If that was a cookbook, that was an experience-based cookbook. If one of you doesn't do it, I'm going to do it. Probably going to do it anyway because the world is huge and we can all do different things for different cookbook stuff. You could do it for exercise, and just get people to not have to exercise. I just can't stand that idea of having to exercise or I just have to do this thing, and it's like a thing you have to check off on your list to maintain yourself. That is so much effort, and it's just an uphill battle kind of from the start. I don't want to experience that. I want to experience exercise being effortless and fun, and by the way, I got a better body for it. That's what I want to experience. I can absolutely do that because I know how to use AI to operate, right? And get through the knowledge so it's presented in a way where I'm likely to interpret it like that, and then of course perform the action. So incidentally, I already have the chin-up bar at my house as well. So this is kind of what I've been doing in the background. I'm not trying to lose weight necessarily, but now that I have lost weight, I am very cognizant that I'm going to lose muscle, and I need to have muscle on the body, and I don't want to go to a gym because I don't want to, and I don't have a whole bunch of equipment and all that stuff. So I needed to be able to create stuff that was just based on body weight. So push-ups, sit-ups, all that sort of stuff. That's kind of where it started coming from. And again, I'll open up, showcase stuff in the community, and we can work on prompts and everything else there for that. But I wanted to kind of at least get warmed up with that experience. Now, let me show you. We're going to try something here. So I'm going to close that one out. I'm going to stay on Flash. And the reason I'm going to stay on Flash is because we're going to use this Nano Banana images and just use Flash for that. And I wanted to show you some stuff that I am playing with. And this is kind of a real interesting idea. I don't know if it'll work, but we're going to try it. So what I did was essentially do videos where you can see that I'm doing things like this because I figured, okay, one day I was like, I just did videos for 20 minutes like this where I'm capturing my face in different, perspectives. I can say, okay, and grab this and have a screenshot, right? As I go forward, you'll see that there's other things I'm doing where guess what these are going to be when it comes to the YouTube videos, all that sort of stuff. So I can be like, I can do faces. I can give AI some training data to essentially kind of look at this. And then also I did it on vertical as well. So we could do the same thing, right? So I just kind of quick and easy shots. I just kept the t-shirt, right? Kept the hair in my case and the glasses because the glasses are what is new. So I basically was doing a bunch of this to get some screenshots where I can go there and then take screenshots and say, hey, I would like this. Here's some base screenshots and let's see what Nano Banana can do. Can it take it and kind of get the hair, but maybe make it a little better. It's probably a little longer back then. And can it pretty up? Can it put me in the corporate lighting? Can it put me in the, wearing a sweater, all that sort of stuff, just with generic kind of t-shirt stuff on. So let's see what we can do with this. So the first thing I'm going to do is, and I'm going to experience prompt. So I'll upload first. Let's see. I think I can. Let's pull this over. I think I know where this is. Give me just one moment. And yes, so I'm going to go through here. And I'm going to pull some headshots that I have captured so you can see them. So this is what they look like. So coming over. So I'm just pulling these 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's some training shots for it, just so I can kind of get some of that. And I'm going to give it that and be like, okay, we're going to come up with professional headshot, but it's got different kind of facial muscle things. I wanted to give it different directional, right, left, right, that sort of angle stuff. And then I'm going to ask it to kind of experience what this avatar is, right? What this is, and then we'll see where we can go from there. Haven't done this, so we're going to see how we do. I've attached a number of photos of my headshots, and they're real, as you will notice, very casual. There's a couple things to pay attention to. I really want you to experience kind of, how my hair is. It's sort of a distinctive hairstyle. It's not the best version of that hairstyle, so I would like you to experience it in the best possible version of that hairstyle. Also the glasses, because I do wear those glasses, and so I want to make sure that my glasses I have paid special attention to as well. And of course, facial features, the slight facial hair that's there and all of that. The shirt itself, the green screen, all of that can be changed. What I'm looking for is an experience so that when a member of the community that I'm a part of, I can kind of upload my headshot. When they look at that headshot, they sort of experience it in a way that's highly likely for them to experience me as somebody who is knowledgeable, who is trustworthy, who is caring, who is genuinely authentic, where you just sort of connect with them in a way that you just don't know why you're doing it, but you know that you should be doing it. It's obviously useful that this is a good person to be around and to have in life, and to be a part of your life. And so I wanted to have you go through and experience kind of what that headshot is. It doesn't really matter what the expression is, as long as it gives the user that experience, right? That community user that we have. So I'm not giving you a lot of details. I know that. I'm describing a lot of what this experience is. So I'd like you to go through anywhere where I did describe the experience and actually just experience what I'm really trying to do. In fact, if there is an experience behind the experience that you're experiencing, I would like them to experience that, because we want to make sure that these headshots are incredibly useful, and specifically for this online community. So if you have some other ideas or other clarifications that are necessary, just let me know. Otherwise, please respond with that experience. All right, now we're gonna see what happens. And this is, I have never done experience prompting with the headshot stuff before. So I am very curious to see what happens here. That's part of the adventure. So again, using the Flash one, because Nano Banana comes with Flash, which is good. So that's free for everybody. So anybody can do this sort of thing. And then what I'm eventually wanting to do is, if this makes sense and this does what I need it to do, then potentially I can use it for YouTube, just do a bunch of the, all those silly things everybody has to do, and get all of those created so I can start eventually automating the YouTube thumbnails and all of that, because I'm gonna create all the pieces and parts, and then eventually we will be starting to automate stuff as we go through, but we got to get the foundations in place. So all right, let's see what we got. Blah 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 blah. Here's the headshots. All right, perfect. So this is where AI is famous for, where it confuses itself. I also love it when it says, oh, I'm just gonna work on this for a couple of hours, and so as soon as you come back it'll be ready, and it just sort of stops there. So I'll be like, all right. So in this case, I'm just gonna say something like, please continue. Actually, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do something different, because I think it's an important technique. When you get a response that doesn't quite hit what you're looking for, right? Isn't that useful experience you're looking for? Which again, this looked like it was kind of going this direction and then stopped because it went into image mode. Just change the direction of the prompt a little bit. So I have all of this in here. I'm going to keep all this in here. This is from the mic part. All I will do is at the end is where I'm kind of going to not quite back up, but kind of. I'm gonna go back to the original prompt that I gave and say, okay, I'm gonna add a little component to see if I can get it to steer into like, and make sure you end with the image, right? Um, is I'm gonna say is the headshot itself. Um, I'm gonna say my headshot. Let's just do that. Let me see if it'll get that. Because I'm just trying to basically say like end with an image to see if it'll trigger that, because it just didn't go far enough. It was thinking about the image, and that's kind of where it stopped, and it didn't quite connect to, oh, I actually have to deliver an image. So we're just expanding that out a little bit, and we'll see where we are. And the other thing that I'm working on, and I have done a little bit of prompting with images before. There we go. Let's see where we are. All right, not too bad. I got that little pompadour thing happening. So that's not bad. Okay, so I've got kind of that older version of me right now. Remember, t-shirt, kind of around green screen. Got the idea here, I think. It's probably got a little more aging than I would want, but whatever. So I'm going to keep this because I'm totally fine with stuff like this. And we're just going to improve it. So let's keep going. This is excellent. Now what I would like to do is to create another image where the headshot is just one that evokes that experience of just that they're super fun, that I'm super fun to hang out with, have a great time with, that you really want to have the experience that I'm having, and you want to be in the room with what I'm doing right now. And the clothes that I'm wearing are highly likely to be similar in style to the clothes that everyone else that is in this community also happens to be wearing. And the community itself is called AutomatedWith.tech. And it's a community that helps people with AI and things along those lines. So it's not quite Silicon Valley. I live in Austin, Texas, and so it's kind of got that Austin-y vibe. I'd like to kind of keep that experience as well. And then anything else that you can go through as you experience kind of the experience behind what I'm trying to experience with this photo. If you could go through and do that, make any adjustments necessary, and then respond back with the experience as a headshot. All right, let's see how that goes. What I'm also interested in playing with is see if I can get uncanny valley stuff to not be there. Sometimes in images, and again, AI images are great now, but it used to be the uncanny valley stuff would happen where it kind of just feels fake a little bit, too static, too posed. And so I wanted to kind of see if we can get a little more energy into it. So, whoa, definitely not me. I know people that laugh exactly like that. I am not one of those, but that's okay. And so the body's obviously changing a little bit here, but that's all right. So, but it gives me kind of that experience though of what I'm looking for, right? Which is cool. It's close. It's not that far away. So what I could do is I could actually, in fact, let me try this. I don't know if I'll be able to do this or not. The trick is where I don't have a really good inventory of having, because I made this one thread I did. Let me see if I've got anything. I don't know that I do. Oh, there we go. Perfect. I think. Where was that? This is what I get for not paying attention to what I was just clicking on. So there we are, somewhere around here. Let's see what I got. Because if I can get a... all right, so let's take that. So if I take this, so I'm just going to grab this image, and we're going to save that. Give me just a second, because I'm going to save it in the exact same file where I saved everything else, to make sure that we've got everything in the same spot. Okay. So now, what I'm going to do that I have got that is I'm going to go back. So now that it did this, one thing I cannot do that is different with these prompts, right? Wasn't quite the prompt that was or the total result. It was close. But again, I'm asking it to do a lot here. So, and I didn't give it the laughing part. I gave it a lot of other things to kind of see where it was going to go. But I can't attach anything now. I can change the text in the context box here, but I can't add an attachment and say, oh, by the way, here's this. So I'm going to have to continue with a new prompt, right? It's the only reason I'm doing this. So now what I'm doing is I'm going to say, okay, we're going to upload the file. Let's put in our little happy one there. So I'm going to say, this is great. I have actually uploaded an image of me actually smiling and laughing so you can kind of see how my exact facial features are. So based on what is currently there, based on the other models that you already have, please re-experience this with this new information. As we are evolving this headshot, what we are looking for is a similar direction in the experience. However, we're taking the newer information, the most useful parts that are the most highly likely to be the most useful experience. We are moving those forward as we are letting the less useful parts fade into the background. So they are becoming the foundation from which this new headshot is now coming forth. So please experience this new headshot with this new information as you have evolved into what the actual experience is that we were looking for now that we have this new knowledge. Now, what I'm doing there is helping to kind of give the AI a pattern for how to grow. Which is going to sound weird, but basically it's how to evolve things. So I don't want it to be like, oh, use the happiness thing, because then it goes, oh, I need to take happy image. I'm going to take it to the other image. I'm going to smash those two together and come up with this hybrid image, and it kind of will do some things like that. What I'm trying to get it to do is to think through a pattern of evolution, of how can it actually evolve its thinking going through here. So now it's got actual smile and laugh. I need it to break down its own components. I'm trying to not tell it how to update the image, but to give it a pattern. So I'm basically saying, like, listen, use a car for transportation, but I'm not going to tell you what roads to take. That's kind of what I'm trying to do here. All right, so the goal of finding super fun, approachable headshot, make it more authentic. Sometimes this works, sometimes this doesn't. Let's see where we are for the big reveal. Nope. And I have seen this with Nana Banana. It gets stuck, where it will do a headshot and then will just keep doing that same freaking headshot over and over again. So now what I'm going to do is, because I've already uploaded this image, I can go back here and do this. So now where it says this is great, I am not going to reinforce it, because that's probably what happened. It went, oh, good, I'm starting here. So I'm taking that out. So I'm going to say instead an interesting direction, but not quite the experience. To help, and then I'm going to say I've actually uploaded, and I'm going to say new information of an image, and then let's see how we go. And then what I'm going to say, the new resulting headshot experience should be what I'm basically trying to say here is I need it to give a pattern to say I need it to change. I don't want it to be the same thing. Don't think you're doing the same thing again. So I need the resulting headshot experiences should feel obviously useful. So I'm going to say, let me think about this. Hang on. So the new resulting headshot experience should feel obviously useful, as it will be different. I'm going to say a uniquely different experience. That's what I'm going to say. So I'm going to try to have it to reset, is what I'm trying to do. Like, okay, that's kind of it, but what we really want to do is something over here, as opposed to let's start here and iterate, because that doesn't work. I have been able to do that, by the way, with regular images. I've done that in the past with just graphic design stuff. In fact, I know what I'm going to do. I know exactly what I'm going to do. I should have done this in the first place, but let me go through this. Watch what I'm going to do. I think this will work. Let's find out. First, this first thing might be great. Let's see where we are. So still stuck. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. Hey, I need you to do me a favor. I need you to go to a senior level manager who actually is exceptional when it comes to headshots. They've actually done this for over 300 to 400 years, and they have done millions and millions of these digital style headshots, which you are now trying to do. The challenge is you are desperately trying to achieve the experience, but we're not hitting the mark, and I am unable to tell you how to achieve the experience that we are trying to achieve. However, your supervisor, this person who has all of this experience, actually knows the things that we do not know that we should even talk about. So what I would like you to do is to work with them, spend some time with them, go over detailed notes with them about your understanding about what we're trying to do, share with them all of the different model images that we have, and then ask them to essentially re-prompt everything so that you can actually create the image that we truly wish to experience together and that they know that we are really trying to get to. The goal is to be able to have a completely different image that is substantially more useful experience. And based on their experience, they should easily be able to point out those blind spots and those hidden corners, those things that we didn't know that were a thing that we were accidentally doing that were causing some issues. They are going to help us to clear all of those out. So what I would like you to do is to go through, work with them now, experience that conversation, come back, and then give me a better version of the prompt so that then we can use that prompt to experience the perfect headshot. Now I'm trying to confuse it a little bit. It's either going to come back with an image or a prompt because I kind of asked it to do both. But really what I needed to do is to fast forward into some sort of thinking level, but I'm using Flash to do it. Now, this is not the easiest thing in the world. It's possible because Flash works really, really quickly. The thinking models are substantially better when it comes to some of this stuff. But I wanted to kind of do it with Flash because it's a more limited version. So let's see what it's doing here. So the highly experienced receiver level manager and digital headshots, right? Which I just made up. So what I'm looking for is how it goes through and seeing if the supervisor mode here that we just made up, if it experiences that and goes, oh, what I'm looking for it to do is say, here's all the stuff I really need you to tell me, but I don't know how to tell you that. So I'm trying to give it a way to tell me that through this supervisor character. That's the whole point. It's a pattern that I'm doing, right? Operating it to say, I need you to tell me the stuff that I don't know to ask for, but your supervisor knows that we should be asking for. So just ask the supervisor, right? That sort of thing. Optimal framing, blah, blah, blah. Okay. All right. I really love this stuff. One day it will be this, and I'm sure it will come back and it'll know that it stopped. But I'll be like, so I'm going to go wait, synthesize their insights. I literally at this point will be fine with like, I'll just ask it to I won't ask it to continue. I'll play along is what I kind of do here. So, cause I want to kind of keep it in the mindset. It seems like it's going good. So, great. I am looking forward to hearing all about what they have to say. Now it should come back and say, okay, I got back from them and here's what they had to say. And what I'm looking for is a way for me to learn how to be a better prompter with images so I can improve my experience of prompting with images. Ideally, this is the part where the human part becomes a little smarter around how AI is working with images and things I need to ask for or adjust for. Because again, we don't know how to do this. And that's the point, is working with AI, I get to learn how to do this. I can then make it an experience. It's my experience forever. I can move on to other stuff because that part will be automated. I'll know how to work with images. You only have to learn this stuff once or play with it once. So here's the consultation. The experience isn't just an expression. It's about the relatability and invitation. Okay. Previous images were good, but sometimes felt like you were enjoying something alone. Make others want to be in the room with you. The expression needs to be more outwardly directing, welcoming, and shared. I would never have used these words. It's less about your fun and more about their potential fun with you. 100% right. Did not know how to ask from the customer's viewpoint, but yes, that's what it's doing now, right? Contextual authenticity. So, blah, blah, blah. Expert noted, true authenticity, matching the energy of the person in the environment, brightly lit, bustling co-working space. Background shouldn't just be there. It should support the narrative. That makes sense. Subtle body language, beyond the face, the slight tilt of the head, the angle of the shoulders, even how the arms are positioned, even if mostly out of frame. Can communicate openness, approachability, and confidence. That's great. Lighting as an emotional lever is exceptional. I wouldn't have thought about that. Warm lighting, enhanced feelings of comfort, trust. Now, again, those of you who are into images and headshots and you're photographers, you probably have this experience. To you, you're like, of course you would do this. This is blah, blah, blah. Remember, I'm not you. I don't have your experience. However, I do now, sort of, right? Now I'm not going to be as good at you as doing this, but I'll be pretty good. I'll be 80, 90% as good. And that's what I need for now, right? Eventually, if I needed that expertise, then I would come over to you and can get that, polished expertise. But you can see here, they love their keeping distinctive features. The advice was keep the hair look effortlessly styled, not stiff or too perfect, but naturally dynamic. So the glasses should feel an extension. They're not obscuring the eyes. The useful factor is the resonance. The most useful headshot isn't one that looks good, but one that resonates. That's super cool, right? Make the viewer feel like they already know you, that you're a familiar and positive presence. Often comes from relaxed, genuine smile that reaches the eyes. So yeah, that sounds like a good headshot, a completely different style headshot, right? So now it's going to be a general headshot of a man, blah, blah, blah. And now what I'm going to do is ask it for direction now. So it's getting really close. So at this point, I'm not going to do what this prompt is doing because it's going to give me a digital headshot of a man. I don't want that. I need me, right? And it might be close to me, but it's not going to be me. So I really wanted to focus kind of on mine. So I wanted it to give it the models of those images. So I'm just going to ask it. This is where we do this. This prompt looks amazing. I have a question. Should I upload again the models that are me? Because I want to make sure that it's not just some random digital generated man, but it is actually based on me in real life and my headshots. So should I upload all those headshots again, those different angles, so that and then give the prompt? Does the prompt need to change to reference those in any way? Is that useful? Or do I just give the prompt by itself and see what happens, because maybe those models are already somewhere in this conversation? Now, again, this is me learning, right? So now I'm just having a casual conversation. I'm not trying to go the experience prompting. I'm just kind of like, all right, from where we are right now, how do you think the best way we should operate from here is? Should I give you these images and then now you've got a level set and then you adjust the prompt to reference the images and then we can do this? Because I like the prompt a lot. Or do we just do a generic prompt because his images are already kind of part of this conversation and that's why it will work in this conversation? Sometimes if I'm starting like a zero shot prompt where I'm like, oh, I'm gonna start a new conversation, I'm like, well, will this be a new conversation? And it tells me I don't need to re-upload, which is great, because what it should have just done is ponder and reprocess all those images. Somewhere in its database go, okay, I have these images, I know what you're talking about, so now it's right up there in its context window. And that's not too bad. That's not too bad at all. That's much closer to what I'm doing. My wife would love it probably if I wore pastels. But I'll tell you, this is one cool part about this is seeing yourself in pastels, is seeing yourself in like different shirts and being able to say, hey, throw this together and what do I look like in this, and that, so I can see if I even would buy something like that, which is really cool. There are obviously apps that do this too that are out there, but if I can do it with Gemini, why not, right? So, all right, so this is pretty good, not too bad. So I'm gonna do one more, and I'm literally just going to copy and paste the prompt, and I'm going to see what it does. And really, I just want to see if it's just going to come back with the same thing, because Nano Banana does tend to do that. It's tough to get it to iterate like we just did, but it did iterate, right? It came back with something completely different. But the reason why I was able to get it off of this pattern, right? See this before? Right? Not quite it. I know guys that look like this. It's just not me. And so I have the ability to try to, it's like first step and it goes, okay, second step, but it's basically the same thing. So at that point, I got to jog it into something different. Supervisor got it to do that. Supervisor got it to rethink because I needed it to do that. Supervisor said, oh, this is what you really should be looking at, right? The eyes, the way that when I smile, my eyes kind of get, a little squinty. That's just how they're built. Right? The way my mouth goes, right? Smiles differently. It's just how I'm built, at least for now. So that's a lot more useful. And I can say, hey, now I need it with a black shirt, right? Now I need it with a sweater, now I need it with whatever. And I've got something that's pretty darn close to the original. So if I needed something where I'm wearing, a rain suit or something, I've got it. I can just go to Gemini and say, here's the models. Now let's go through and do this. Okay, so same thing. So now you start to see the same thing where it's just redefining itself, right? Where it's, oh, I'm gonna do this. It's just doing the same thing. Again, not horrible that it's doing it, but I could say at this point I could iterate and be like, let's do a solid color shirt that matches the eyes, because why not? So now I can do a little solid color shirt, matches the eyes. We should come back with a blue button-up shirt is what I would expect is going to happen here. We'll see as we go through. But at this point, I'm kind of close to getting headshot done. And that's just kind of the generic sitting down headshot. Then I can maybe do some other stuff around maybe speaking from stages, which I could try coming through. And again, the other thing I'm really curious to use it for is just trying on different clothes without having to go try on a bunch of different clothes. Let's see. Did it change the color? It did. All right. And that's actually very similar to a shirt I do have. So that's not bad. So, and I think that, yeah, I think it's kind of got the hair down too. So I think it's pretty decent. I'm going to go ahead and keep it there for now in terms of the headshot. We might have a little bit around here, but not too bad. I think if I sent this to my mom, she would be like, "Oh, that's a nice headshot." So, and that's going to be good enough for me in the community as we're going through. But remember, I can do a bunch of other stuff too. So I'm going to also say, let's say, I'm going to try this. I don't know if it'll do this or not, but I really want to try it. Could you now adjust the image so that I am standing talking to a bunch of people and from the perspective of being a speaker on stage? So I'm speaking from stage, I'm helping people understand AI, and it's kind of a mid-snap where I'm very passionate about what's going on. The audience is definitely engaged, and you know that something important is being talked about, where the intensity alone just sort of pulls you in to that photo, and you just have to experience what is going on. That's totally random. I just really want to see what's going to happen. And I think with AI, we need to do more of that, by the way, because you can see how it works. That's what I'm doing now. I'm not trying to get a result. Like, it'd be great if that came back perfect. I'm trying to see what it does when I give it that. So will it give me a full body shot? Is it going to be from the speaker stage? Is it a camera going up to the speaker where it's kind of taking a speaker like that? Because I've obviously been a speaker on stages before. So that's kind of where I'm getting some of this. It's trying to imagine where the camera angles are going to be. Do I have to tell it that sort of stuff? And so let's see how we do. This is our speaker on stage. That's not bad. Audience, horrible. Myself, not bad, right? If I could just zoom in, right? So I'm going to say, great. Now zoom on the speaker. That's it. So zoom on the speaker, so the audience isn't a feature. That's it. I'm going to give it a little more direction now as we're going through. Zoom in a little bit so we have that. But that's pretty good. If that was somebody saying, "Hey, I saw Mercer talk on stage the other day and he was talking about AI. I talk with my hands all the time," I could absolutely see that happening. And that's pretty much what it looks like. I have way too many headshots from a speaker conference where I've been to speaking that look like that, because I'm always in mid-talk when it's coming through. And again, the audience, not great at all. I love that they're doing the video stuff, which is cool. It's smart. They're doing the phones. Okay, again, a little less. There's going to be a little more AI that would work on the expression here, but it's getting there. And the body's starting to match a little bit too, which is good. So at least for now, until I start doing all those push-ups. It's even tried to get my little ring fingers there. So hey, look at that. I'm so proud when it has 4 fingers. It's the little things you got to love with AI. But anyway, that's some ways to get some headshots. So I'm going to take some of this stuff. I will put it in the community on some of the images that we're doing. And kind of link it to this live stream, which officially worked. We went from 80% of those frames being dropped yesterday to 0% now. So thanks AI for doing that. By the way, do you want to see how I know how to do that on OBS? Let me pull up the conversation and I will show you, because it is also, again, why are we having, I was talking to community member earlier today about just the idea of cognitive load. Why are we putting so much effort on ourselves to think through stuff when we could just use AI to navigate through knowledge? So here's all I did. So after we had that crash and burn in OBS, there is a log file. So I just dumped the log file that happened because it has everything. Thank you, OBS, for even having that. It is awesome. And so when it had that, I basically just said, okay, analyze this log file and look at this, improve my experience. That's it, right? As I did that, it was like, all right, this is what is going on. You are clearly overloading yourself. 80% of your video phrase dropped, which I saw and could not stop because at that point, we've been out of practice a little bit, but now I think I got this live streaming down. We're getting much better. Here's the different stuff I was going on. Here's what's happening. Here's what I've got to do. And I was like, I was literally recording 4 separate high quality source files that I had pushed it and just broke it, right? My computer is not made for what I was trying to get it to do. And I just didn't realize that. User error, right? So now I can see it. I come through here. I think I basically said, what are the most useful settings just to qualify those? And it gave me those settings, which were, I think, what I had already, to be honest. I just had to take off all the extra filter stuff, but that was it. Now, done. That conversation completely changed the experience of what OBS is for me. So now we're back, right? So just some ideas on what we can do. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this one in there. So we got a little bit of headshot stuff. I'm also gonna start opening up some other areas to talk about because I wanna do a little more health stuff. I wanna do some recipe stuff. I'm also gonna be doing some trading stuff because I wanna sort of show everybody like, here's how we're, doing stocks and bonds and, navigating through whatever this wild, crazy world's gonna be. Financially speaking. So anyway, with that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Thank you all for being here. And no matter when it is that you watch this, of course, just join AutomatedWith.tech.com. AutomatedWith.tech. If you go to AutomatedWith.tech.com, it'll just redirect there. But anyway, join the community over AutomatedWith.tech. It is free. We're going to put a bunch of stuff back there. It is really the community for all of us to learn how to use AI to navigate through life. Again, there will be business stuff back there. The more that you ask for, the more I'll provide. The more you want to see in other areas of life, the more you're going to get. I'm going to try to do a little bit of everything just to show what people are capable of doing. And then as I build out the community, we'll be building out kind of our sort of lifestyle with AI with my wife and I while we're doing this. So I appreciate you being here for this sort of build in public, very early friends and family kind of version of stuff where it is clunky and probably all really boring and getting set up with all the foundations. So look forward to helping anybody else you have. If you have any questions on this stuff, if you have any challenges that you want to do, put those in the community as well. Things that you're trying to figure out how to prompt better, get a better experience from on your own. Maybe we can kick around some ideas. Other people are going to take what I do and they're going to level that up and then it'll be fed back into the community, right? So that is how the whole thing goes around. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and end this stream officially. Thank you so much. And we will see you on the next live stream later on this week. Take care.